Hey everyone, I'm back with Wendell from Level1Techs. Are you texting?
CC mail. I'm sending email.
Damn millennials. We have some fun stuff to look at today. You were here for a server build. I'm not sure the order of any of the videos going up, but we have a lot of cool content coming out from this trip of you coming out to visit us. And these two, so you've got a Sharp device and an old
HP.
Okay, and we should talk about how these relate to your history with them and also why they're cool. But these are, actually, I kind of want one of these. Before that, this video is brought to you by the Team Group Delta Max SSD. The Delta Max SSD has a mirror-like finish and addressable RGB LEDs to produce a large display area that's addressable by USB 2 or RGB cables. The Team Delta Max SSD is available in 250GB, 500GB, and 1TB capacities, capable of 560 MB per second read and 500 MB per second write speeds, or about 90K IOPS read and 80K for write. The Delta Max SSD is compatible with Asus, Gigabyte, ASRock, and MSI RGB software for quick synchronization with the rest of the system. Learn more at the link in the description below.
This is the first handheld computer ever. This is from like 94, like 93, 94.
What's the model? HP?
This is an HP 100LX. There's also the HP 200LX, which is even more popular. But I was, like the 100LX was a pretty good deal. The 200LX added a Pocket Quicken, so you could do all your checkbook balancing. This is a 640 by 240 CGA display.
What's the year? Do you know?
93, 94, something like that. So it runs DOS. It's an 80186 handheld, x86 handheld that runs for 40 hours of screen on time from 2 AA batteries. This is peak technology from Intel.
And this, how did you come across this device originally?
So I was doing, I had a summer job where I helped fix electronic stuff for a junk store guy, and he would buy these things by the tractor trailer. And he was very kind, and he was a very good employer, but I was also maybe underage, so it was a little bit of a quid pro quo. It worked out.
Yeah, right.
And we got one of these on the thing, and it was like, are you going to sell this in the junk store? And he's like, I was like, I will work all summer for that. And he's like, deal!
Yeah.
So this was transformative. This thing changed my life, basically. I used it all the way through college. It was great for physics. So one of my lab projects in physics was building a nuclear magnetic resonance sensor. And so I hooked the lab equipment up to that through the serial port and just collected all the data directly on the computer. It's got Lotus 123.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, here's the desktop, I guess, equivalent. So yeah, there's no, obviously, SIM card in this, and there's no wireless. So your phone book's just a collection of numbers. There's also, like you said, Lotus 123, so spreadsheet options, CC mail. Let's go back over how that worked.
CC mail, so the infrared port or the serial port, you would connect, like say on your way to school, and it would download all of your messages, and then you could reply, and when you connect back later, it would put your replies actually out on the message board. So in the days of email then, email was not real time. It was, once a day kind of thing.
Yeah, right. You use this as a daily driver?
I did. I carried it around with me everywhere. I had a utility belt. How
long did you use it for?
Until I got out of college.
Okay, cool.
So this actually like my fourth one because I would just wear them out.
Yeah. So in terms of technology, yeah, let's
PCMCIA. It's only got RAM, so 2 megs. It's a DOS 640K. 640K ought to be enough for anybody. So the other 1.3 meg is a RAM disk where your data is stored.
Oh, cool.
But if you want to run real DOS programs, you need internal storage. And all I could afford was 5 megabytes of flash from 1994.
Oh, it's got the, yeah, nice. So what was the what did the storage usage look like? Was it mostly just kind of spreadsheets, and did it do word processing, I guess?
Yeah, there's a limited word processor on there, and you could run, like WordPerfect would run, but it was a little slow.
Okay,
but
wow, WordPerfect, I haven't heard that.
Mostly the claim to fame here is that even though these are DOS programs, it actually does multitasking really, really well. There's a math program on here called Derive. Well, I've managed to use up all the memory, but there's a math program on here called Derive, which is kind of like Mathematica for DOS. And I used that because the school had a copy. That meant I had a copy.
Right, right.
And that was a lot of fun for doing a lot of other kinds of things.
Is it enter? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, not enough memory to open application.
Yeah, so
Okay.
all the applications that have a square around them are running, but...
Oh, okay, got it. So...
You could go over to like...
So we currently have world time running, I guess.
Yep.
And Lotus123 and Memo.
Yep.
And CC Mail. A lot of them, actually.
So let's go over to Lotus123 and quit it, because Lotus123 was a hog. It was a hog of a program. So like, there's Lotus123.
Yeah, it's a spreadsheet.
And no, I do not want to save. Let's see, menu, quit. Yes. There's the word processing program, which would give you stuff. I had a lot of fun with this technology. I kept trying to replace it because it's DOS, and by the time I got to college, it was like super antiquated. And the software experience on here is still unrivaled. Like the software engineering team that put this together, they really did an incredible job. And so like this is one of the most viable devices that I had for replacing it. So it's a tiny, clamshell.
And this is early 2000s, this one?
Yeah.
So it's a 2-in-1.
It's an import from Japan.
Yeah.
And so I made a little bit of money importing these and configuring them for English and selling them to other people at my college. It runs Linux. It's really powerful. It has Wi-Fi, unlike,
Is it accurate to call this a PDA, or was that not terminology used yet?
I think that it is accurate to call it a PDA.
Okay.
A lot of the software from Japan, Japan's ahead of the curve on everything. And so we had like, I think the Palm Pilot was just starting to be a thing. And then we had this, which had a 640 by 480 display and just all kinds of insanity. The battery's shot.
Tiny laptop.
But if we plug it in, you'll see it boot up in the Linux kernel and all the Linux
Do you remember, were
messages.
these nickel cadmium or something?
I think it's LiPo.
Okay.
It might be nickel metal hydride. EA Blob.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, EABL08. That's the thing. It just says a rechargeable battery.
Oh.
It does. Oh, lithium ion. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So.
You could get replacements for it then if you wanted to, pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a little slow.
So how did you feel about this one versus your previous one?
I love that this one was Linux. So
Okay.
it was really awesome.
And you were already using Linux at this time, I guess?
Yep. But it was not daily driver material.
Like the toggle on the back has only Japanese characters on it. So what does the toggle do? There's no English on your...
Oh, for battery changing.
Oh, okay.
So if the battery's
Gotcha.
low, if you really quickly change the battery, you don't have to reboot it.
I see.
And so that's like a warning, like, hey, what kind of mode are you in or something?
So, as I understand it, you used to mod these as well, you said.
Yeah, you can overclock them, but it requires hardware modifications.
Okay, cool.
You're going to lose a lot of that 40-hour battery life, though.
Can we take it apart?
Yeah.
Is it, what kind of screw is it? Torx?
It's like super, super, super tiny
Tiny
Torx.
Torx.
So these literally had a cult following for many, many years, long after they were obsolete.
Oh, man.
Like people would like covet them and be crazy. There are mods for RAM upgrades. You can upgrade it all the way up to 8 megabytes, I think, or 16 megabytes internally. I think some crazy people were even doing like 32 meg mods. I only ever installed up to 8 meg mods.
Okay.
And then there was a crystal mod where you replaced a crystal, but that literally made everything run faster. So then you had to load a device driver to slow the system clock back down and stuff like that. So it was a little messy.
I think that's just tape, maybe?
Like paper. Because it was.
But there's no screw.
It was a pocket device.
Yeah, right.
So.
Oh, yeah, right. Pocket lint. So it's part of your receipt from 20 years ago,
Yeah.
if you were looking for that. So for these devices, were there any even very simple games on them, or no?
No, you could run DOS games like crazy.
Oh, perfect.
So I had a ton of DOS games on there, but with only 5 megabytes to work with, I had to.
Well, and it's a black and white screen, but DOS, so.
It's a 186, but without protected mode, and then it's got a CR2032 battery in the side and that kind of thing. So it just kind of, now this part's not fun.
Okay. Do you want a
Yeah,
Jimmy?
Spudger. Yeah, that'd be good.
You can't call it a Spudger, they'll yell at you.
Oh.
Is this what you're thinking of when you say Spudger?
Yeah.
Because that is also what I thought of when I said Spudger. And there was a commenter once, and I'm not mad because he did correct me in a way that was accurate. Commenter commenter was like, Steve, for like a year you've been calling this a Spudger, and you're wrong. It's actually a Jimmy. And I looked it up, and that is called a Jimmy. So thank you. So they're plastic clips?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
not fun.
suck. Yeah.
And this plastic is so old, it's super brittle.
Yeah.
If we destroy this one, it's probably okay. But
how hard is it to find? Have you ever looked on eBay?
yeah, they come up on eBay fairly regularly. I still have an old bot that's configured to listen for these because there's some people that still use these. Like it's still a thing. And there was some guy that was selling like 6 of them that had been modded.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, oh, I need to buy that.
You might have worked on one of them.
Probably.
That's cool.
Oh, come on.
So mods then, you said you did like a oscillating crystal replacement, I guess, for one of them?
Yeah, that's easy. The RAM mod was not easy.
Okay. What did the RAM mod involve? Is it soldered memory to the board? Okay,
yep.
So did you have to desolder what was on there and then?
No, there's like a stacking interface, like a stacking card. And so you'd have to solder some wires on, and then you would stack the new memory on top of the old memory.
Cool.
So we've got a very loud piezoelectric speaker. Oh, this is the one.
That's pretty serious.
The reason I still have this one I sent to Energizer to repair because the battery leaked, and I was like, there's no way they're going to be able to repair it. And they did. They actually did a good job repairing it.
When was that? Was this still a pretty current device?
No, it was probably like 2005.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I got, as time passed, a lot of the people that I had sold these to with mods would come back for parts. And so I ended up, I wish that I'm not usually super nostalgic, but then it's like years later, it's like, oh, I wish I still had that.
Yeah, right.
But I got rid of pretty much everything. But you can see there's a lot of really, this is a sort of a marvel of engineering. Most of the space in the device actually goes through the expansion card, and there's not really much else in here other than the motherboard. And then this is the ribbon cable for the display. Okay. It'll actually, if you use nickel metal hydride batteries, it'll actually charge from the 12-volt input.
Okay, cool. Where was your memory where would you do the memory mod?
Oh, so we got a little bit more teardown to do.
And then is that, what's the large chip? The large
system on chip. It's literally everything.
SoC. Okay.
So that is an Intel i8210437AB, 1992. So that is an 80186. It's a 286 without protected mode. Okay. So you couldn't run Windows on it, but anything for 8086 or 8088 would run great.
What got you into modding these?
I wanted it to go faster.
Yeah, okay. So like most enthusiasts, I guess. What was the battery trade-off like? Was it worth it?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It absolutely was worth it. So I really think that, like I look at modern machines like the, I've been really tempted to order, what's the one portable one that's like the clamshell? It's a little bigger than this, but it's a modern Windows touchscreen. Oh, okay. GPD, the GPD people. Oh, yeah, yeah. But I love this keyboard. This keyboard, I think, has never been replicated. Well,
I personally prefer, like, I mean, you can't do it anymore, really, but I used to favor smartphones that had a slide-out keyboard because it's just the physical feedback of where the buttons are located meant fewer typos and easier to use. But yeah, that feels pretty nice.
So this one would be fairly complicated to mod because you've got this is a 2 meg one, and so it's like 1 meg on board and then another meg. And so you could replace this board with an 8 meg board. Okay. And you end up it's like there was some weird rules like with 8 megs, like the onboard doesn't work and some other goofy stuff like that. But you can see this is like really early Pioneer stuff.
Any particular reason for the bump profile here? Just support?
That's where the mechanical buttons are for the keyboard.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. It's been, yeah. I'm still on like touchscreen mode. It's just like, what could that possibly be for a touchscreen?
This, like whatever they use for these mechanical buttons, has almost the same profile as like the Apple keyboard, and this feels better than the butterfly switches.
Well, yeah. not too surprising. So, just 2 sprains here for anything, or just
RF ground
connection
right stuff, I think. And piezo actually.
Oh yeah.
This is the piezo interface.
Okay.
And then this is an RF ground.
So there's your shell. That's pretty cool. What's going on here? Is that the battery? Yeah, okay.
It's like your batteries.
Yeah, there's battery coils on both sides.
The reason they did that is G-forces in your pocket. So like you're throwing the device around.
Yeah, right.
And that's also why...
I noticed you just said G-force. How much did NVIDIA pay you to advertise in this video about a device a few decades old?
It's Intel, and they're real excited about their new iGPUs.
Their new x86 processor. Perfectly capable for DOS. So I guess one of my last questions maybe is on this section anyway. What games did you end up playing on it? Anything?
Oh, Zork.
Okay, not familiar with Zork.
Rogue. It's a NetHack-like. I don't know. It's been a really... There's a PC World and PC USA, which were quasi-educational. Those worked really well on here. Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Like legit, not ironically playing Oregon Trail, but like
actually playing it.
Yeah, because the display is CGA. It's 640 by 200, so it's a half VGA resolution, and like there are actually
that's really good.
Software mods for like making it work. So
awesome. Well, so that's those two devices. Let's do a really quick thing on this, the Canon Cat.
So this is from Jeff Raskin. Canon made it, but it's Jeff Raskin's brainchild. You might know him because he came up with the Macintosh project. But his vision of the Macintosh project wasn't the thing with a mouse that was stolen from Park that Steve Jobs made it into. It was something more like this. And so this is kind of similar to these in that there's no mouse, there's no anything else, but it's a word processor. But the software on here is really cool. It is a good word processing experience.
Can I plug it in? Does it?
Yeah.
It all works? Okay.
So this is another device where it's unassuming. This was a commercial failure. They made less than 20,000 of these. But it's a nice sort of collector's piece because this is from Jeff Raskin, Macintosh fame. But also, it sort of has his philosophy. It's kind of a reminder that maybe the mouse isn't the best solution in terms of like productivity. Like the mouse is good for discovering a system, but this is a great word processor. And one of the things that it had, like these leap buttons, are really cool. Like say that you're working on a long manuscript and you remember like something that you talked about a couple paragraphs ago, you can literally just hold the leap button and start typing the word you're searching for, and depending on which button you're searching for, it'll find it before or after the cursor.
Right, yeah, so modern Control F.
Yeah.
Physically. Do you remember when you did that, could you type a few words in a sentence, or was it kind of one?
No, you could type, as long as you held the button down, you could type whatever you wanted. And it's got a built-in dictionary, it's got a built-in modem, and if you just start typing numbers, it'll go into calculator mode so that you can do some calculations.
And you were telling me his philosophy with this stuff was that there was a concern for lost productivity with the mouse.
Yeah.
And
he's like, his philosophy was that the mouse is a crutch that nobody ever gets over. And so it's like, look.
And he's not totally wrong either, because if, for example, in even Windows, you can learn how to efficiently use hotkeys like Windows E to open up, Explorer, or Windows D, or all the other options. It is significantly faster to use keyboard only.
And I thought this was an interesting juxtaposition with like the handheld DOS device, because this device from HP, like the engineering team that did this, really should be involved in modern phones and modern development, because it's such an elegant experience, even though it's DOS. Like it's genuinely a better experience for maintaining like a phone book and doing portable word, like ultra portable word processing and all of the kind of like data processing that you would do. Even though it doesn't have wireless and it doesn't have any of the modern conveniences, it's actually quite a good experience from a user standpoint. Whereas most like phones, the notices are going crazy, and it's what Google wants you to experience, not what you want to make it.
Yeah, the modern corporate experience is keep the user engaged constantly, as much as possible, to the extent that there's even like the comments you'll see in YouTube comment sections that just say this is for the engagement, which obviously we appreciate.
Thank you. Engagement challenge.
Yeah, but that is the goal of modern devices, and there's a lot of distractions. So this would be. Pretty limiting because you're not on the internet.
Yeah. Imagine if you could do Windows gaming on 2 AA batteries.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Great experience. So this we're not going to take apart. It's a little more complicated, but you said maybe one day you might do some restoration on this.
Yeah, it's had a rough life. I've got to 3D print a thing for the floppy drive. I haven't done that yet, but I also don't use the floppy drive. So the floppy drive will fail catastrophically, eat the disk, and permanently destroy the drive, which is a non-standard drive. So
was that a common failure?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like just this machine.
Well, it was a common failure after it was about 15 years old.
Okay.
So I can't really,
I see.
can't really fault them too much. But
right.
They only made 20,000 of them. Jeff Raskin always blamed Canon for not marketing it properly. They only sold them in a very brief window of, I think, about 6 months.
And then he moved on from
Canon. Yeah.
Right.
And he'd moved on to Canon from Apple because
of the disagreements with design philosophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's some old devices. I guess you've got more stuff on your channel about all, I mean, there's server discussion, there's networking discussion, and then we have some stuff coming up on Epic servers, like I said.
I just had a blast talking about this crap because everybody in the audience is like, why is this? I mean, okay.
I don't know how many people will watch it. I personally think it's super cool, but like I said, unfortunately, I don't really have time to use them, but I find devices like the DS, for example, I found the DS very, I guess, haptically nice to use because you've got like the hinge and the snap and all that and the physical feedback, and this thing kind of falls in that same category.
And there's also like a handwritten BMC P6 in here, so if you're watching, whoever assembled this, it was handwritten by somebody, probably here in the U.S. This was probably not manufactured overseas.
Right.
So hello, person who did that.
Is that a serial number?
No.
BMC P6, or is it initials?
I think it's someone's
probably, signature?
Or like quality control, like
right.
This was checked by somebody or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you did a good job, BMC P6.
It's still here. It still works.
Here. Leave your comment below, I guess. Okay, well, that'll be it for this one. And check out Level1Techs, link below for more of, not necessarily this kind of stuff, but more cool stuff. And yeah, thanks for joining me again.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next time.